welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com Broiler Chicken Show. Trade your trading plans, don't take too much risk on any one trade, and just let yourself get rich. Hello everyone! Happy Sunday! Sunday. Tastes great. Sunday. Can't wait. Here we are, 10th of December. Geez, almost halfway through the month now. Incredible how quickly time flies. Hope you're enjoying the capitalist process. Finally through that. Usually it's about a year and a half, sometimes a couple of years when the bear is dominating and you just sit there going, when's the bull gonna come back? But it looks like we've turned the corner. Oh, that's good to see. I'm a little skeptical right now about us going straight line up. I suppose. Well, we have come an awful long way in price, but at the same time, too, I really don't like the idea of people chasing. I always think that's a bad idea. So, we spent lots of time. I remember last November, December, barking about, do you have your shirt together? And, did you have your skirt together for all the politically correct people? And do you have a plan? And have you earmarked the capital that you want to use? Have you figured out what exchanges you're going to use? Have you figured out what your risk management, what type of risk taker you are? And actually, even our pro membership room, I often go in there and just rant with them off and on. And a long rant, somebody had asked the other day for me just to comment on how I would approach the market. I ain't going to sugarcoat it. These tools are very good at just identifying just the facts. I'm just don't bullshit. Just what are the facts? And you can see as of December 8th here when we updated the engine there. I suppose the 8th would have been on Friday's update. Crypto universe embedded heavily overbought on the short term and on the medium term. I've come to, I've basically used this tool now for, Jesus, I built it originally back in the late 90s, early 2000s. It took me about 5 or 6 years to put all the code together, me writing the code myself back when I was a broker. I think I've showed you my 1980s website. And then I was very, very fortunate early in this crypto experience. I was unfortunate, of course, losing my wife, but after she passed, I was sort of guided to this crypto space. And one gentleman in particular, who's an absolute godsend, Mr. TRICTO, he basically built all this out and actually wrote the code the way you're supposed to write it. If you look at the way I write code, it's a bit amateur, but nonetheless, Sjord has written out this code the way it's supposed to be. And, it's a slow evolving process to get us to the point where we've got it completely up and running and functional, but it's working pretty well here now. So as you can see, I'm a little concerned here that the crypto market is flashing heavily overbought situation here in the short term. So just understand that. And of course, anybody who does subscribe, mind you, Chris, do you have the link to the newsletter? Have you sent me that? Oh, look at that. He already read my mind. So we do this newsletter that basically is sort of a summary of what I should be talking about with you guys. And just once, it's just a one pager, just sort of overview what's going on, sort of verbal summary of what I sort of saw in the market with Chris's help. We sit and edit this message out. And, whether it be you see something like this histogram looking the way that it is in crypto right now, and notice the rest of the market doesn't look at all like this. or whether it be like our proprietary breadth signaling system, which we still want to try and figure out a name for. It's right back up, ridiculously overbought. That was our most recent huge crypto rally right there, from about 35, I guess, thousand up here into the 40s. And now it's, I mean, this thing can only go up to 100, right? Once everything gets overbought, you're starting to play with fire again here. You notice that it took a while for this thing to actually W out and start to point back up. But here we are, right back up at the top again, and flashing warning signs. So not only is the breadth indicator here ridiculously overbought, again, a reading above 80, we are overbought. It is flashing short-term weakness signals. But if you actually look at the broader market itself, this is the sort of the bullish percentage index. I think the guys over on TradingView, they do this a lot with the internals of the market. And you do, it's been a while since I've done the bullish percentage index on these indexes, but only you can only stretch the rubber band so far. And if everybody's bought and everybody's long, then everything's going to be bid up. And then the question is, who else is going to buy? And is the market priced to perfection? And everybody's sitting there long and saying, okay, go up now. I want to make money. 9 times out of 10, when that's the case, usually the market goes the exact opposite direction. So this is a bit of a warning sign. This is getting dangerous here, folks. Once again, we actually had a very nice little window there. I'm not going to BS you coming. We had a beautiful, and even if just looking at this is the weekly chart that I put out on Twitter. I like to just once a week, when the market's active and there's setups happening, both bullish and bearish, great. But we're one directional here, and there's no point in like going down and hunting tops off of lower time frames, because you're just going to get your ass handed to you. This thing is pushing up, and I would actually say that it's pushing up on the anticipation of Mr. Fink's ETF desire. And my hunch is that this thing probably doesn't keep pushing up until somebody actually explicitly comes out and puts the kibosh on this thing, or we get some crazy ass blow off top, and then we get a whole bunch of trap bulls up in like a big fat wick up top, and they're just trapped up there. So, the message that I put out, and, if you want the newsletter, you can get the newsletter for free, and you can sign up for it. Actually, look at that, just irrationalinvestor.com/newsletter. So you can do a fairly simple sign up procedure here for this. You can get this in your email, and then this actually links right to this video, so you can watch this after the fact. I'll be out, of course, with Liam here shortly, and I do see a lot of people watch these videos afterward. So anyway. Okay, so the point of the matter here is crypto is once again egregiously overbought. Be careful. And as always, and all of you know this line. Let's see if you can. I'll give you the first word, and let's see if you guys can jump through some hurdles. Don't what? Don't. Oh God, there's just some slipping my noose around my neck there. Eh? Let's see all the insulting one-liners that come back on the YouTube feed. Hey, oh nice. Actually, people are being polite. That's good. Where's that Shane guy? That Shane guy, he would definitely throw an insult my way. The Matador says 8 consecutive green weeks. Something that's covered up by the silly YouTube icons. I can't read what that word is. Oh, there you are. Tied for the most ever on BTC. Look left and 38.2 any given time. Cool them jets. Well, there you go. Nice job. Really, what I was just hoping all of you would say is, for God's sakes, don't chase. That's usually where most people lose money when it comes to investing. Is if we look at this Bitcoin chart, they'll come in and they will buy up here. And they don't realize that they're actually walking into a bit of a trap. I used to always joke, the airport adage. The red zone is for immediate unloading of passengers, not loading, unloading. The green zone is for immediate loading of passengers, right? And, if we can get it, which would be an absolute gift for everybody, and we'll see over time, is if we can ever get reload zones that overlap each other. Oh my God, those are just the absolute best buying windows. So we have this huge weekly reload zone. And, if you're watching this for the first time, this video, if you're relatively new to technical analysis, the number one thing that is absolutely most important in this game, if you are ever going to buy assets with the anticipation of making a capital gain, is location. Your location has got to be the number one concern if you ever come into the marketplace and buy something looking to make a capital gain, i.e., you want a half decent trade location. And really, this reload zone concept, it just keeps you out of trouble. And if I actually went through all the videos year after year after year and just showed you how many times I've said that it's just disgusting how often you'll see things like the 78.6 fib basically marks the bottom in price action. I mean, it's stunning how often it is. Take a screenshot of that, load it into your diary, right? I call it the line in the sand in our education program, because if this is still a bull, then the bulls will come in, and more often than not, they will actually put a bottom in right off this damn 78.6. Sometimes it looks like we go beyond it and then we come up and then we actually do something like that. Well, that happens a lot. I could probably show you the previous years. In this particular case, it was just get down into that 78.6, really tight little double bottom, and see you later. And of course, this was all around just about 1 year ago, where we were barking, get your act together, get your plan together, get your, what is your fundamental analysis? What do you like in this space? Why do you like it? What are the stories that are going to sort of carve out a new niche? And, we haven't even, the interesting thing about all this is that we're still in a trading range. I would actually make the argument that we haven't even really transitioned into a bull market yet. This is nothing more than a trading range. And usually what happens is, no guarantees that it's going to go one way or the other. But usually, and you've seen me do this a million times, usually these things end up looking like big W's. I don't know whether it's going to look like that or not. Who knows? The last cycle, of course, it was dominated by that sickness. And it's such a shame the way these stupid central planners have completely destroyed our economy because of that. Just absolutely horrible planning. Or maybe it was all intentionally planned and we all just got fucked up the ass by the central bankers, which I think is what has really happened here. Of course, you can't publicly say that, or there'll be blood in the streets kind of talk. So they have to keep pretending that they're there. Oh, we didn't know. Oh. I mean, what I find fascinating is if a doctor goes and does some sort of poor operation, they could be subject to malpractice lawsuits. Why are none of these central banksters who have completely fucked over our standard of living here in our society here, who encourage these politicians, and if the politicians don't play ball, then they'll actually murder them, aka Abraham Lincoln, aka John F. Kennedy, aka Old Hickory, I mean, all of these guys, the people that murdered them had direct connections to these bankster cartel bastards. Um, AKA Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan, when he was a governor of California, he was like balanced budgets, balanced budgets. We're a conservative country. Pick up your bootstraps. You need some help. Okay, fine. We'll help you out. Maybe even, the Bush seniors, they're like, well, go to your church. Maybe they can help you out if in time of need. But for some reason, these damn banksters, if we're stuck in financial slavery because we're up to our asses in debt because they loaned us the money, then they basically write their own ticket. Whatever, Rothschild himself, write this down. You never heard it before. I mean, this is Money Masters 101. Said, I don't really care who's in charge of a country. You could have a right wing totalitarian dictator like Adolf Hitler, who needs a whole bunch of money to go and buy big fat guns to blow up other people. Or you can have a leftist leaning socialist communist like the idiot leader of China right now. The guy in his 8-year term has now actually spent more money than all of the previous prime ministers of my country combined. The guy is literally in 8 years. And what's so sad is the prime minister prior to him actually tried to pay down the national debt. He actually tried to. And what was the response from the bankster crooks? Well, we're going to put our guy in there. And this guy absolutely knows nothing. He's even publicly said, well, I'm going to leave monetary policy and balancing the budget and all the books and stuff. I'm just going to leave them to the banksters, right? Or the bankers. He wouldn't call them banksters. He would call them the learned class. And they've gone and actually they've literally doubled my country's national debt. And like literally everything, the prices of everything, house price has doubled. Is it really a function that the house is so valuable and it's so desirable? It has nothing to do with the house. That's the worst part about the real estate industry here. And people just don't get this in our society. This has nothing to do with the houses. The irony of it all is that, KB Homes and DH Horton, all them, they were building houses like crazy. And then after the 2008 financial crisis, they said, you know what, no more. We're going to slow down here. And really, that's where they come up with, it's a supply issue. That's bullshit. This is all about the collapsing value of our currencies. The fact that these idiot leaders of ours who have absolutely I've said this repeatedly to you people, that the finance minister of my country has no practical working experience in the financial services industry. None. Zero. Zilch. Has no formal education in economics and from some ivory tower university professor like Alan Blinder. You all know what wonderful thoughts I have about Alan Blinder. So, you release the rant and all hell breaks loose with Brian. So, where was I? I mean, does it not surprise us Bitcoin is 50, 100 G's here? And, how high does Bitcoin go? Well, considering the way that these central planners are in full control of our society right now, actually, interestingly enough, this upcoming election year probably is actually going to dictate where Bitcoin goes going forward. Because if the socialists do hold on to power, and all of the predictions about another massive wave of hyperinflation probably coming down the pike in 27, 28 kind of idea. Of course, Bitcoin is a forward leading indicator. So Bitcoin price will go up ahead of that event. They will anticipate that. And you might see $200,000-$300,000 Bitcoin. Don't be shocked. In fact, interestingly enough, like one of the reasons why I think I've posted, I think that you may see a little bit of short-term resistance here is this very noticeable long-term trend line on Bitcoin. But if we start accepting above that, then that means, just using the exact same logic where we just played connect the dots. Believe it or not, this is where I first got into Bitcoins, eh? Wow, incredible. But if we play connect the dots, well, the next logical line to draw is from here up to here. And I don't know, where the hell does that take us? We're expecting a peak somewhere around, yeah, you can even see we've already anticipated it. So looks to me like we probably want to zoom up, and it would make sense, especially on all this ETF nonsense and stuff. My hunch is that $100,000 is probably a really big magnet for Bitcoin, psychological level, big fat round number. In fact, we're coming up to a big fat round number here, which I don't think the market can avoid hitting. So if anything, this does make sense that we probably hit this big fat round number, 50 G's, through this halving event. Then we probably have to calm back down. Then maybe we have to trade back to like 20 G's or something like that. And then we get a nice little bit, a nice push up here into 100. Probably goes beyond 100. And of course, the people, when price is above 100 here, everybody's going to be crying new paradigm. And probably on this kind of event up top here, this is where the big honking bearish divergences start to come in on things like relative strength indexes. This, I guess it was this past cycle here. It was a little embarrassing that I actually saw some people that I thought knew what the hell they were doing in the market. They kind of fell in love with people that really didn't know what they were doing in the market. And so those people that sort of were relatively new to this game, they got, they're part of the big shill. And if anything, when we get up top here, it's going to be orgy-tastic, buy Bitcoin, buy crypto, you'll make a fortune, blah, blah, blah. But what really bugged me up here, and you really saw it with relative strength, was we actually had people at this point here saying, well, just ignore the technical analysis. Yeah, this time it's different. And oh boy, if we ever hear that kind of talk, that's got trouble written all over it. I suppose the good part about this chart right now, and this is what I posted in the little free tweet, that I do once a week. Let's see what the hell that is. Well, and I even included it here in the newsletter. Is actually, let's see. I was wondering what was going to happen. So if I click on this when we're eventually ready to do this, Chris, will this take someone to the actual tweet? We used to have these linkable. Anyway. All right. Thanks, man. And, everybody give a shout out to Chris. I couldn't do these videos without Chris. He's an absolute stalwart. I'm not biased, but I think he's got a birth date that actually works well with me. So maybe that's half the reason why I like him. I don't know. But give a shout out to Chris because he does a lot of this stuff that helps me actually do these. So here was that tweet that I just put out. And I think the big thing that jumped out at me just here in the short term, when Willie starts to get stupidly overbought like this, where the yellow line gets above this -20 here, that's when we have to start getting worried. And you can see that as we got up into that, and you can see the bearish divergence in MACD through this period here. What are we supposed to do? And hopefully everybody that's watching this remembers this. Let's see if you guys, quiz time. When you see this M come in here, but you see Bitcoin price moving higher, what are you supposed to do? At the very least, just think this on this event. You got Willie stupidly overbought, and you got a big old fat M here in MACD that's actually confirmed. And that happened right here. What should you do? Thank you, TBG. Thank you, Nick. Hey, TBG's on both places. So, and was that good advice? And really, this is rules of thumb that when you look at your charts, right? I'm trying to teach you how to do this. So you're giving yourself advice here. It's not like some third person is just saying, well, I think you should cool your jets. Oh, thank you for the advice. There should be logical reason that you can replicate on your own. And if you are learning anything here, please, and if you're enjoying the rants, hit the like button. And I see we got 50 some odd people and only 12 likes. Come on, people. Give me a little bit of love here, please. Anyway, back to our story. So M comes in here on MACD. Cool your jets. And was that good advice? Well, you can see price basically went sideways here from about the, what is that? That's the like the middle of March, April, all the way through the summer. Basically, price didn't do anything. That was probably pretty good advice. And then notice you can see W's actually start coming in on the indicator. The Williams percentage R itself, W's. And of course, anybody that's a follower of me has probably heard my lengthy talks about how you use RSI. So there was the bottom in RSI after, actually, this is a weekly chart. So here was the bottom in RSI just coming out of the summer. And, you know, first W, that's the signal that the bears should cool their jets. Second W, and if it comes through a 50 line, that's probably a pretty good looking buy signal. That second W is a buy signal. So the point being that we had bearish divergence all through here. You better cool your jets, wait for that divergence to play itself out, and then boom, we're right back on the buy side. But what I was trying to say here, and I kind of derailed myself, so let's get back on message. Do we see an M in MACD yet? Is there one there? The answer is no. There is no M here yet in MACD. So that means there is no top in the market right now. And we can't even start even talking about tops until we actually see this thing go and M out. Because usually these momentum indicators, they start to top out and they start to M out before price itself starts to top out. So as my message was here in the newsletter and on that public tweet is, you know, since the move through 32K, which we got those W's and all those momentum indicators, this has basically been a one-directional market. And I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to, number one, get in front of this. That's definitely the case. You're just throwing your money away. And then number two, actually go into the business of calling tops here, because this thing will just rip your face off if you do that. And it's never a good idea to go into the market and say, I think the market will top here, because you're just going to, you know, especially if you don't have any signs of divergence and, you know, our Willie wasn't even overbought through any of this. And technically it still isn't overbought. The reading there is minus 22. And the rule is that Willie gets quote unquote stupid right up top here, where you should start getting worried when it's lower than minus 20. And Williams percentage R works in a funny way. It's a negative number. So the absolute highest number this could ever print is 0. And the absolute worst number this thing could ever print is minus 100. So minus 20 or lower, or I guess higher, is overbought. And we're still not even overbought. We're at minus 22. So there's no sign of a MACD bearish divergence. And there's no sign of the Willie being overbought, or, you know, as I like to say, stupid. So I don't think it's in your best interest to go in there and start calling tops here. I think this is actually pretty dangerous. I'd also say too, from my experience, and this is what I've been sort of talking about in the sort of Monday to Friday videos, this to me, and this is just my personal interpretation, this doji right here to me actually is a really important marker, because either one or two things were going to happen here on this doji. It's an indecision bar. And as we had been sort of talking about in previous, at this point, we rallied up to 38.2s. We got up into, you know, actually not even, looks like there's a little bit of a price gap right at the top of that doji. So then, let's see, just out of curiosity, is there? Maybe not. Anyway, we got up into this area here. I guess that looks pretty clean. And on this doji event, it was sort of like, this could either be one of two things. This could be either a topping pivot, and quite often, actually like this pattern right here, you notice that the topping pivot kind of looks like a doji. And then this 3-bar pattern here is called an empire or a bearish fractal. And the move through that low is a huge sell signal, and boom, down she goes. So this doji bar could have been the start of some sort of top here. And I often see this. So, it's important that you actually like point out on your charts these kind of events, because the or of this is maybe that's actually like a midpoint where, maybe we have sort of an A to B here. And then if we just simply clone that, and then project that off of the doji, now you can see how that's sort of like a bull flag, and that projects up into here. So it also too, and this is where you need to use your imagination a little bit, so I'm not going to really say this is textbook, but one thing I noticed was this consolidation window sure looked to me like a shoulder, then head all the way down to the bottom. Then remember, we had a real battle here. Remember, all through the summer here, Mr. Fink wants his ETF. Mr. Gensler wants to take a poop on the entire industry, back and forth, back and forth. Then notice, keep in mind this low here, right? That low from that tail there was 25,401. And then notice we came down into here. And what are the lows, right? There's 24.9, 25, 25.3. So you could make the argument that that's actually a right shoulder. So if that's the case, then our inverted head and shoulders actually looks something like that. I know it's kind of hard to see, but the point I'm trying to make here, if I highlight that a bit more, you can see it. Which one would it be? Maybe a background. Hey, there you go. So I've drawn this level here from the ultimate low back up to that neckline and replicated that. That's what this yellow line is. And notice how that seems to align nicely with this little, that doji midpoint study and where it would take us up top here. So there are a number of sort of confluencing, if that's a word, reasons to look for price to rally up into this 0.618, which is a pretty popular fib from the mathematics world for markets to often rally back to. In fact, one of the best crude oil traders that I ever worked with over my 30+ year career in the business. And it kind of sucks how TradingView took his icon away. But I suppose I was probably the only person that ever used it. But there was a big fat M in this little icons. I suppose now when I want to make note of him, I just take this W thing and I just turn it upside down. But affectionately, I always like to call 0.618 Mountain Man level. As I said, Brandon, one of the best futures traders I ever worked with, and he would always just religiously just hit 61.8 fibs. It was his world. And he was a very, very good trader. And I even put out a tweet recently to this effect that, both previous cycles that we've seen here, we've basically run up and hit 61.8 fib heading into the halving event. So here was the 2015-16 bottom into its halving event. So we tagged at 61.8 just prior to the event. Then we had to do a correction following it. And interesting, each of these pullbacks, especially this pullback here, that pivot right there was exactly 61.8. So that's what I actually thought was the buy signal from this 15-16 bull. In the 1921 We actually rallied up back to 61.8. I think way too fast. So it's interesting. And I do remember that into this event, man, the kids on the site were going absolutely apeshit crazy. And I remember one guy in particular I was very disappointed with, just became absolutely over the top emotional through all of this. Totally, all of the teaching, everything. You guys pay me thousands of dollars to learn this, and it's remarkable to watch when a violent price move like this happens. It went from like 7,000, 8,000 up to like 12, 13, 14,000 there in just a matter of like 3 or 4 weeks. Uh, like the emotional just it just took over, just absolutely took over, which is kind of disappointing. And then you see, following the blow off top tag, a big old M comes in, and then we had to go through like 6, 8 months of just absolute meltdown following that. So, if anything, I hate to say it, but man, this space is it's schizophrenic, and I suppose it is a commentary on venture capital because the venture cap stock market acts very similar. But this, I can absolutely tell you, the crypto experience, this it takes it to another level. The way the kids, especially young men, full of testosterone, they want to prove themselves to the world. It becomes very. They attach their own personal self worth to how great of a market picker they are. And I don't really think it has a hell of a lot to do with their actual underlying intelligence. This is just pure cycles. So I guess just the point that I would just make is, and my question on this tweet was, is it possible for Bitcoin not to hit this 61.8 heading into this halving event here? Does it do it just before the halving event, or does it do it ahead of the halving event? I actually think that if we didn't have this Bitcoin ETF shit around us, I might even argue that this thing probably would have gone straight up into those levels. But now you've got like all the adults participating in this space. You've got like the finks who have their super algo bots that are trying to fuck the kids over and steal their money from them. So they manipulate the media to their own desirable ends. They manipulate politicians to their own desirable ends. So as a result, it's been a little bit of a harder slog. Climbing the wall of worry has been a little bit tougher here. I don't know. Maybe, they always say this time, as soon as you say this time it's different, then it's exactly the same as every other market. So maybe all we're doing is just the 15-16 cycle, which means we rally up into this 61.8, 48.6, and then we probably got to take a bit of a pause following that event. Either way, the problem here is that, anybody who actually does fancy themselves as a technician, you can see the W's down here. You can see where you were supposed to be a buyer. You can see the W's where where you were supposed to be a buyer here. What was fascinating about this market, you can see how it dipped right back down against the lows here. And then also this last cycle, notice the dip right back down against the lows here. My question is, where is this dip? Why have we not seen this dip yet? And that's concerning to me. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. And remember, number one, I will not pay up for markets. I just won't do that. Number two, I always approach every single thing I do in the marketplace with a risk first approach. So that means if I want to go and buy here, and keep in mind the price is even much higher than it is now. So now we're up into this area. If I want to go buy here, I have to ask myself right away, all right, if I'm wrong, where am I proved wrong? And how much is it going to hurt? And, M's and W's, there was our last W. I'd have to say that these lows right here, just below this really big psychological level, $25,000, I think that they are actually a magnet for when this market does break, and it has to clean itself up. I might even argue wicks and tails like to be eaten. There's a really juicy tail right in there, candle body lows for trade location. So I really don't have a problem going forward thinking, well, if I did want to be a buyer of Bitcoins, where would I likely want to buy? And that seems to be somewhere down in the mid to low 20s, right? So here is this would be our first stop objective. You know, just as we just did 50% bounces, this is the 50% level of this entire bear slide. WD GAN is what usually happens in these markets. I might argue that there is the 50% level of this bull run. So this level right here, this 50% level, this is this sort of keep you honest level in the market. I don't know exactly where the hell this thing's going to top out. And of course, if we do keep moving higher, then you as a good technician, you did nothing more than just keep stretching your reload zone tool or fib tool, whatever the hell you want to call it, to whatever the ultimate high is. And as I said there a second ago, if you're going to do it off of just the current price action, if this is the top, well, 50% level is sitting right there at 29,000. Now, you all know, you know me, and you've been watching these videos forever. You know where I want to buy reload zones. I mean, I make my fucking living off of this stuff. And of course, you know, there is Brian's favorite fib. So if I did want to buy and I'm hunting levels, I absolutely love this. Well, why don't we just put it on here right there, 21,700 and change. Remember I said just a moment ago when we were looking at that other, here, let's get this off of here. When we were looking at that other chart that I had tweeted out, wicks and tails like to be eaten. Notice how that 78.6 lines up very, very nicely with these candle body lows. And there's a big old tail with a whole bunch of trap bears that would love to get released. And I believe that there is, you know, and they like to call these liquidity pool. There is a huge amount of stop loss orders all just sitting down in this area. I'm not going to get into the business of predicting why price is going to come down here. All I'm just going to say is, as a technician, and if I did want to buy and everything that I teach you guys, this is the area that I would be considering buying, not up here. I'm sorry, folks. Anyway, broken record. You know, long and short of it here, we did have some nice momentum signals coming out of this turn. Our algos were on the right side of this. Actually, I guess this market move up here, we got a little bit chopped up through this consolidation period here. Now the algos are starting to flash warning signs again up here. So I'm not necessarily going to say that this is a short because, as I said, I don't have the anecdotal reasons to quote unquote call a top here. It looks to me like things are getting overbought where we are, you know, heading up here, but there's no signs of momentum divergences. Willie is not stupidly overbought yet. And really, you know, the very first thing that we probably want to hunt for here to show us that, okay, the bulls better cool their jets, I talked about this just a few minutes ago, is we probably want to see that initial M in RSI, which is our signal that, well, the bears better cool their jets. Now, or the bulls better cool their jets. Sorry about that. So, riddle me this, Batman. Does RSI like to be up at 83 on a weekly basis? Anyone? I mean, pull up your Bitcoin chart while I'm blabbing away here. And somebody tell me, when was the last time you saw a weekly RSI reading of 83? Crickets? Okay, fine. You can see this is a weekly. Now, I hope we don't have to go through something like this. I wouldn't be surprised if actually this is what we have to do, because keep in mind, this was that last bull run. right? Where was the Bitcoin halving? Actually, I'm surprised I don't have that on here. What do I do? Like that. Oops. Where was our halving? There was our halving, I guess, right in May 11th, right? Wasn't it? May. There was there. So actually interesting. You notice RSI is actually relatively happy here. Notice RSI did get, where are we here? 79 reading there. Uh-oh. Technically, if RSI is above 70, it's actually flashing overbought. So maybe actually, I kind of like this scenario here. So you can see how we were pushing up. Notice how Willie was pushing up. Notice how MACD, there's no M in MACD yet. So I like the idea that we're sort of in this part right here. And that would make perfect sense. And if we just sort of zoom in, right, where we know we got the halving event coming up. This rally was very quick off the bottom. But as I said there a moment ago, if you had come along here and seen this right here, you'd say, well, there is no M in MACD. Williams percentage R is approaching stupid, but it's not stupid yet. Notice it got to like minus 21 right there. Actually never did get stupid. Interesting. Anyway, minus 21, pretty damn close. And then notice, where does the M actually start to form on RSI? Well, it actually didn't start to form. Very overbought. 79 on RSI is overbought. Anything above 70 technically is overbought. But the actual M, where the bulls need to cool their jets and slow down, that actually didn't come in till here. So if we are, comparatively speaking, somewhere in this window right here, and that is the middle of May, comparatively speaking. And the first M in RSI didn't come in until here, July. That's basically 2 months. So notice, right, if we're pushing higher in MACD, the middle of May, May 20th there, and we didn't M out and break down until July 15th, again, 2 months. How long does it take for Williams percentage R to go and actually M out? Willie actually approached stupidly overbought right here, and then the M came in on Williams percentage R, which is a little faster indicator. But interesting how Willie was actually pretty slow to get stupid there. But the point here is, I like the idea, comparatively speaking, that end of November, beginning of December, and where does the actual blow off top come in? It looks like the actual signal, you better cool your jets, comes in somewhere, maybe mid-January, maybe the end of January. Usually the end of January. We have the January effect in the marketplace, where small caps usually outperform through the month of January, and then February is usually a bit of a meltdown. I'm also hearing too that there's a lot of credit shit that's supposed to hit the fan middle of February, March. So we're probably going to see a bit of a psychological swoon around that. And I'm also hearing too that the next eclipse cycle is somewhere in March. And then maybe that makes sense for this kind of scenario where we rally up relatively close to the actual halving date. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the halving date here coming up this year is going to be somewhere in April, I think, right now. So if we sort of topped out a month or so ahead of that, that would be like, I don't know, end of February, March kind of time period, somewhere in there, February, March. That would make sort of sense in here. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, I definitely don't see a top here today. But if we maybe did something like, whoops, what do I want to do here? I always pull up that silly paper trading thing. Well, I suppose we can just do this. If we say a couple months, so that would be like 8 weeks. Let's see whether bear divs and all that start to form through this window here. It would make sense, right? Probably something along the lines, we push up, we've got the Fed here. I think that the Fed is going to come out and say, we are just going to be watching data diligently, and we will respond to the data. I think they are not going to raise a hell of a lot more, but I don't think that they're going to cut rates anytime soon. So if anything, I'm almost thinking this is like a buy the rumor kind of scenario. And in our newsletter here this week, we've kind of conjectured that everything here in the United States, and even ironically enough, the North American market, although China has some major imbalances that it's going to take decades to fix this shit. I actually like what I'm seeing down in the States. There, the fringe real estate markets down in the States have already corrected 20-30%. And that's exactly what's supposed to happen. But I don't think you're going to see a major nationwide recession. And I definitely don't think you're going to see a recession heading into a big political year, especially with the stakes that are on the line here with this upcoming election here in 2024 down in the States. Mr. Trump, literally, he has the rest of his life hanging on in the balance because he is getting relatively old. My hunch is that he's going to use the election as a way to avoid prison time if he is convicted of all the various different frauds and stuff that he's charged of down in the States. The bankster class, the woke society, the leftist leaning, I don't know what the hell you call these people. The irony of it all is that Ayn Rand had exactly the same fights with exactly the same people at exactly the same part of the money cycle back in the 1920s, 30s, and 40s. So it's not like really this is anything different. What this really is, and really what you have to do to really understand what the hell is going on here, and of course I do this basically every single week, you really can't be a viewer of Brian's channel. You can't, whoops, I can't even watch it now. I always pull up the wrong link though. Is it this one? There he is. You certainly can't be a student of Brian's without fully respecting this video. So as I always do, and I think it's in all of your best interest, one day, literally, I would suggest you dedicate maybe 6, maybe 9 hours to just simply go back and watch this repeatedly until you actually understand what's at stake here. How significant this cancer our human species has to endure and has endured going all the way back to good old JC and the temple. Nothing's changed. And as I said,
we have a little less
somebody's
than an hour
barking at me.
left. Yeah, just let's throw that out there.
Yeah, I got an hour left. You guys enjoying my offering here today? Do you guys like the way that I just rant on endlessly? It's the same bark every week, but I hope you guys are enjoying it. But anyway, I've said it before, I'll say it again. You cannot be an informed participant of our society with your eyes closed. You can't be an informed market participant. I mean, this son of a bitch, he knows what's going on here. That's half the reason why I think he went and bought that railroad company through the fear cycle, because he knew damn well, I better put my net worth into something hard and physical. And that, Gardy used to always say that if I dropped it on my foot, it would hurt. And if you drop a locomotive on your foot, it would definitely hurt. But anyway, you can't be a reasoned market participant with your head buried in the sand. And I find it really sad that probably 95% of our population, they just won't wake up to the reality of what our system is and how it's set up, how fraudulent it is, what a utter crime it is to citizens of our society. And nobody seems to be even the slightest bit interested in changing it. It's kind of tragic, really. And, it's so funny to listen to guys like Joey Diamond sit there and say things like Bitcoin is a fraud when he knows full well that his institution, we won't name names here, you all know who Joey Diamond is, his institution has literally settled lawsuits about fraud repeatedly through its history and just made huge payouts to just make the lawsuits go away. So, do yourself a favor if you do fancy yourself a student of the market, and quit playing the market with blinders on and really understand what's actually going on here. Anyway, back to our story. So is there a top here in the market? No, there's no top here. Did we have a pretty significant technical breakout there? I guess you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, basically about 7, 8 weeks ago. Yes. Are we coming into some pretty significant technical objectives here? Yes. I don't think that this thing can stop until these technical objectives have been hit. I do actually like the idea, and I hate to throw a wet blanket on everybody's party, but it is interesting how we played connect the dots off of these previous trendline peaks, and that painted a peak up around this 110, 120,000 area this coming cycle. I actually really like that thinking. And a guy that I have a lot of respect for in the space, Tyler there over at Chico Crypto, he actually put a video out here recently comparing all of the percentage moves higher and then all of the percentage corrections. And his great wisdom came out with a price objective this particular cycle of about 110, 120,000 Bitcoin. So interesting how we have sort of the short-term objective, 50,000 big fat round number. Then I think we go through a nice technical healthy correction following, halving events. Maybe even before halving event, I don't know. We'll see. But once we're on the other side of this cycle, and probably your tell is actually if we do actually start putting in bullish market structure on the other side of this really important big fat trend line off of these previous peaks. If you actually see a W come in on the other side of that trend line, that probably marks, all right, now get ready for the next leg higher. Notice how we couldn't really do that. We went up, we pulled back, we went shooting up, then we came back, then we went shooting up, then we came back, we tried to bottom and then puked out. So I think probably, and this will be like a bullish bot, right? You can see A to B, C to D. So there is your consolidation. And then if we can, there's your initial A to B move, boom, boom. Then if we can consolidate, then, 3 higher lows would be ideal. That'll set up interesting next target, 88.77s, big Foggenbaum level up there around 80, right? And then we probably pull back and then another leg to take us up into these trend lines over the next year or two. So there's my rant about what I'm seeing out of Bitcoin right now and where I think we are. I don't think they really should call tops in here. And I hate to say it, when you sort of zoom down to things like altcoins, if you see a chart that looks like this, right, that's that had a big top, I know, big, what a surprise, 2023. That jerk is going on Saturday Night Live and talking about how wonderful he is. I guess actually that was back here. And everything's right up at the top of the market and stuff like that. And, woo, you can see where the W's are here. But anyway, come all the way down. Looks like there was a pretty little W that came in last fall. They rallied it up. Then they puked it out. And, just over the past few months, we've been sitting here with this asset looking like this. I mean, it's had a big rally previous year. It's basically just been driven into the ground, and now you start seeing higher lows and higher highs, and W's and that kind of stuff. As long as you see this kind of price action down in here, I don't think I can be bearish. And unfortunately, there's your end result. Is all they're doing is they're just cleaning up what was probably a very oversold market. Willie stupid? Yep, Willie stupidly oversold. I mean, that's why I built this indicator, to try and tell me, and if we look at like a weekly basis, Willie ridiculously, stupidly oversold. Look at the W's coming in here. Look at this huge divergence in MACD. As long as you're seeing that kind of price action, you can't be bearish down here. You got to wait for the counter trend rally. Then if this thing does actually go and M out, all right, now you can be bearish again. But as long as we were sitting down in this kind of window down in here, you can't be bearish there. If anything, you have to be like, okay, well, are we going to at least get 50% bounces? And interesting on this one, notice that 50% bounce, if you bought the double bottom, right? You see it's 12 bucks. What a surprise. 50% level is exactly double that price. Do you think that's an accident? I don't. This is basically a manufactured trade. So on this event, good old WD GAN, 50% rule. Anybody who bought the W, boom, sell half on a double, shod, whatever the hell you want to call it. Now they have risk-free trade. They have free coins for the rest of their lives. And you have to understand how important a risk-free trade is. Do you think anybody that bought up here, do you think they were sitting here going, well, I'm on a risk-free trade, so I don't have anything to worry about as we're melting down here and the end of the world is happening to everybody who bought up here? Wouldn't you rather be the person who buys down here when you see doubles, W's, bottom end of the range, bullish momentum divergence, and at this point here, somebody looks at you and says, all right, so how much money you got in this? And you go, I got 10 G's in this. And oh, okay, well, so what's your risk? If this thing craps out, how much money are you going to lose? And you say, well, actually, it's the market's money. I won't lose anything. This thing could go to zero and it won't affect me. Isn't that a great way to play the capitalist game? And I find it fascinating how many people sort of poo-poo this whole sell half on a double strategy. I mean, it is, I mean, you can see, look at, I'm in my 50s. I'm a fucking widower. Shouldn't I be bald? Shouldn't I be gray? Although I do see a little bit of gray coming in here. But I try to play the market as least stress as possible. And trust me, I got a pretty stressful life. I don't know whether any of you know what looking after a kid with severe autism is like. It ain't a fucking ride in the park, I'll tell you that much, bike crackers. So if I'm going to play the market, I want to try and play the market from a position of strength. Try and be as least stressful as possible. And if you can force yourself to buy at the bottom end of ranges and sell halves when they double in price, get yourself a risk-free trade, then who cares what happens to the rest of this story? I mean, I do find it interesting if you do like actual follow a fundamentals. A lot of these Chinese cryptocurrencies seem to be popping of late. Oh, no idea why. But there is some scuttlebutt around the site that things are getting pretty challenging over there for Winnie the Pooh. And he's kind of letting up a little bit on being the big dickhead that he normally is. And he's kind of encouraging these speculators to come back into the market and, hey, bid this market up a little bit. And if you guys want to go and make some money, because keep in mind, these guys are as crooked gets. These guys are half of the reason why the US, there was no fucking way they were going to allow a spot Bitcoin ETF to be inside their retirement system in Fidelity and in 401k plans and stuff with these dickheads running the show. There's no way they were going to allow that. So, you know, they had to spend the past few years getting CZ and all of these crooked characters out of the North American market. Have they actually succeeded or not? That's another conversation for another day. But I would just simply say the point is this happens to be the chart that we put in the newsletter du jour is, you know, this is the kind of market state that we're in. And frankly speaking, this is why I like to play these Schultz coins. I mean, all right, did Bitcoin just double in 1 week? No. I mean, and this isn't even, I mean, technically you could argue this thing quadrupled in 1 week, or, you know, at the very least doubled from here. I mean, this is why we play the Schultz coin market. And I mean, there's tons of these. Look at this one. This is one that one of our OGs all it just sort of got us into. And of course, when it's at the bottom of the market like this, am I really, are any of you in social media going to be that interested in a name that looks like this? The public, no way. But you can see it's starting to climb the wall of worry. I mean, hell, you want to keep it really, really simple for yourself. Come on over to TRI. TRI's got well, we have an in-house crypto expert who he actually identified Luna when it was like 40, 50 cents, ran the damn thing all the way up to $100. Then he ran it all the way back down to zero. Mistake. But hey, I think he's probably learned his lesson to take some profits on the way. But, you know, these are some of his names. Look at this damn route breaking out to new highs as we speak. Does that look like that's done its bull run here? I don't think so. How about hello? Hello. Looks like this thing's getting ready for another run here. And how about his rune? Look at that damn thing. So, I mean, if you want really good fundamental analysis in this space, TRI's got you covered. These names are just freaking awesome. And Fjord, I can't think of a better person to work with. But at the same time, too, as I showed you that Mute, which is just getting going, we have other site members. This is also another really popular one at TRI. And everybody who's listened to our site member, or one site member in particular, is uber bullish of this thing. I think he's going to make a bloody fortune. But the problem here is, can you come in and justifiably buy there? I don't think so. I think what you have to do, and it's a pain in the ass if you miss the bottom. I mean, you can see the W's. Hell, he even had a family member come in and talk to us about their respective industry one time on a Friday Daily Brief summary video. And I even said to him when this thing was sitting here, you know, you better listen to your boy because this thing's a buy. You better have gotten some, and look at the damn thing going here. But the point here is, you know, as long as this market looks like this, I'm not going to step in front of this crap. They just let it run. The trick here is we got to try and find the W's as they're coming in. Somebody had also posted that this one actually I talked about last year and tweeted out and all that. And they were like, well, you know, Brian, actually, I just booked a double. Because even from this little old lady purchase here, that rally up top there was a double. So now they're sitting on free coins. But same sort of thing. Does that look like a top just yet? I mean, do we even have any momentum divergences? Nope. Is there even a top in RSI yet? Nope. Is Willie stupidly overbought? Willie got stupid there, but if anything, it almost looks like we're slowly turning for another push higher here. Look at that volume. Are the buyers still buying here? Yes. So I can't see a top here in this stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. Hell, I even went and bought some of the Luna stablecoin for fun. We call this our gold-plated vodka trade. If this thing, theoretically, this thing it should trade back to, yeah, Spell. There's another one, Cam. Holy crap. I think I even tweeted that out when and this one it's always funny when you talk about this one. Actually, I don't think that's the right quote. Because the guy who's behind this, he likes to use colorful language when he speaks. Hey, even more so than Brian. And Brian's got a pretty foul mouth too. But I don't know. Kind of looking at that one, I would not fault you. And actually, it's good that you pointed that out. That sure looks like a W to me, doesn't it? So, Ken, there you go. You're going to eat your own cooking. Uh, that's not a bad looking buy. In fact, where are my buddies here? Zug, you're here. I think I went through my whole credit with you, though, didn't I? How did our. So I bought a little bit of this mute with Zug. If that thing doubles from our purchase price, I could probably free up some capital there with him. But I also bought a little bit of this DREP with him. Oh, I love the look of this thing. It's interesting as you go on this guy's website and stuff like that. I didn't really see a lot of activity. It looks like they're still alive, so that's encouraging. But gee whiz, look at that chart. That chart is just poetry. So you should, in fact, actually, this looks a hell of a lot like that spell. So if you want Zig, feel free. Maybe you know what? I don't even really have a problem. This is kind of chasing, I will say that. But if this was like, say, Nanny Nibbles, little old lady kind of portfolio, you don't have any of this on the books. Actually, I wouldn't have a problem if you just went and grabbed a few $100 of this. The question here is, if you went and bought $300 of this, what is the statistical odds, number one, of seeing this thing double in price? So from here, it's 6.3, so that means we need to go to 1.2. So that's actually right there. Well, we'll be generous. We'll go 1.3. What is the statistical odds of this little name trading back to that level sometime over the next year or two? Pretty good? Not very good? What do you think? Zig, can you please go pick some of this up for me, please? I don't know. I don't mind going and I'll even throw this in the lounge. I don't really mind at all going and picking up a little bit of that right there. So go figure. Where is my Zug? There he is. Still have the money on your mute limit order if you want spell. Didn't we go and buy another thing? I thought we bought that DREP thing though with that extra money. Yeah. So I can send you 300 if you want to go buy $300 worth of this. I think my credit's still good with you. I'll be more than happy to pay up for that. That's actually not bad whatsoever. So interesting that you mentioned that because I did even tweet this out that I was like, that's ridiculous. That if anything, this is a really good example of like little old ladies just going in and nibbling. I don't think it would be a good idea to margin and leverage trade this thing here because I could very easily, if you're drawing trend lines and you're patient and you're disciplined, looks to me like that's probably your market structure. So you can see boom, boom, boom. So probably if we did a fib off of this high back to reload zones, my hunch is probably that's where, yeah. So somewhere down in here, that's probably your value buy. But I don't really mind if you just don't have anything on. You take like a little old lady approach to this. That $200-300 that you throw into there, what's 10x? Where that 200-300 turns into 2,000-3,000. We're at 6. So that is right there. 10x is just to there. That's ridiculous. All that is just a revisit of this high. And you've heard me say this before, right? Trap bulls and bears. If we get any kind of rally, if Danny says anything even remotely bullish, and of course, he's got a bunch of fans in this space that probably did pretty well previously. So I would say horizontal support and resistance is right up in here. There's a bunch of trap bulls that would love release there, there, and there. And probably if we did things like fog and bombs off of this very wide bottom here, say there up to there. Let's see where that goes. Boom. All right, so 2.618 will take us up better part of a double from current levels. You'd get your double easily on that 2.618 if you're patient and you just throw your stink bid in at the reload zone there. So 2.618, yeah, would be a double from there. So maybe that's the prudent thing to do. I don't mind the idea though, going and buying a little bit here and then just throwing some stink bids in down here to add to the trade. So that if you do get a dump down in here, that'll bring your average cost in here. But, and this actually should be a good reminder. What did I say was the absolute number one thing I always think of before I ever put a position on? I said it earlier, and all of you, of course, should be absolutely obsessed about this. See, I said 3 words. First word starts with an R. Second word starts with an F. Third word starts with an A. Nick's even like RFA. Oh, you went and bought some yesterday? Is my credit no good with you? I can send. We can stop the video now, and I can send you $300 now if you need me to. I'll be happy to. Anyway, point here is I was kind of hoping. I guess Nick got it, but nobody else got it. Hey, there you go. Nice, Constantine. Risk first approach. So, am I going to go and mortgage the farm? Who even knows? What is my rule about round fat number? No, that's something different. What's my rule about risk management? Remember, Brian has 2 rules of investing. If you follow the 2 rules, it's actually difficult to lose money at this game. Who knows what rule number 2 is? Thank you, TBG. So I preface this with, if I don't have any of this and I wanted to do a little old lady approach, then that means by definition, I will never put more than 5% of my stake at risk. Never. I can comfortably tell you I am working. If I ask Zug to go and buy $300 worth of this thing, I can comfortably tell you that my stake is substantially higher than $6,000. But that's what you need to have to justify throwing $300 at a name like this. You have to obey that, people. You can't break that rule ever. Now, if you're going to margin trade this, then you can't risk. If you're dealing with $6,000, you can't let the margin trade go beyond $300 of losses. So would I margin leverage trade into a position here on this right here? No, that's down here. That's the conversations down in here. And let's watch, over the next month or two, my hunch is there will be a pullback in this. But if you don't have any on, you want to get a position on, I don't have a problem with you going and nibbling. Just make damn sure you do not break rule number 2. Just don't do it. All right, so you asked about this one. Actually, I don't really mind that. But let's just call a spade a spade. This thing has moved up quite a bit here off of the bottom. Okay, we better circle around and look to see if there are any questions that need answering. I had a fairly lengthy talk with you guys about corn, so I don't think anybody is feeling ripped off about not getting some overview of what I see happening there. Did talk to you a little bit about altcoins, and this is basically the sweet spot of the market, but for God's sakes, don't chase. Like, you can't come in there and buy that there and expect a double. You're asking for trouble, folks. You really are. If you do want to buy, just make sure when you zoom out and you start to do a bit of analysis, like even if I say, well, maybe I'm going to expect a 50% retracement, which really isn't outlandish, off of this most recent 50, actually this is a little bit more than 52-week range. Off of this range right here, you notice 1.1, and you notice we're at 6. Well, that's just right around a double, right? 1.2 would be a double. So am I okay with you nibbling away on this thing down here? Sure. If we do get a pop up into these areas, I would highly encourage you to be thinking about selling halves on doubles and just establishing those risk-free trades. Once you get into that risk-free trade, sky's the limit. Whatever else you got on the books. I think Danny is a fairly respectable guy. I don't know whether Spell has any future or not, or whether it's going to be a legacy coin that just sort of bounced 50% of its previous range, or whether they decide to take this thing up to new highs. If you establish that risk-free trade down here somewhere, then it's up to the market's whim. But I don't really have a problem putting some of that on the books. There's a whole bunch of these that I've done over the past 6-8 months that have all popped up nicely. So, I mean, unfortunately, with the way that I'm running my book right now, it's very difficult to do the sell halves on doubles. But I am trying my best. And just slow and steady, as they say. And if I am given the opportunity, I will sell halves on doubles. But my hunch is like this kind of chart, I think you're going to see way more than doubles down the road. So I don't think there's going to be a problem with selling halves on doubles. Just make sure that if you do buy, you make sure to buy down at the bottom end of the range. Don't chase, so then it becomes difficult to get those doubles off. Okay, as I said, let's see if we can circle around and do some questions here. Chris. There's an announcement. Oh, Adam and TBG Crypto would like you to announce the TRI Meetup 2024 in Surf City, El Salvador. The 16th to the 22nd of February, I guess. Is that February? Are we going to do it February or March? February. All right. Direct all questions to TBG and Adam on Discord. They've got the back end logistics covered. Right on. Way to go, guys. Yeah, I did kind of ask TBG on a Friday show for whatever it's worth. And if you are a site member, TBG came on the Friday show and had a really nice presentation about El Salvador. So we all want to go down and kick the tires. And of course, being crypto people, might as well at least say we've been to El Salvador's crypto beach and crypto city and surf city and all that. So the formal invitation is I guess put out. Did you guys, TBG, you're over there? Actually, you're here both in the Zoom call too, right? Did you put together a little one pager? And maybe we should start getting people to put their names down who would like to at least give us a heads up notice that they'll be part of the meetup. So did you guys put together that one pager yet? Survey says Adam. Where's Adam? Adam's usually here. I see TBG, but I don't see Adam. Anyway, so you have been formally announced, and we'll just keep reminding everybody as we head into the new year and into February what's coming down the pike. And if I understand correctly, flights are pretty cheap. They're not that expensive. And accommodations aren't that expensive either. So it shouldn't be too much. So hey, there's Adam. All right. So if you guys, if anything, what we probably want to do is create a sort of a group meeting room on Discord. And I'm on 29. All right. I'm not quite sure what that means. All right. So, all right. So I'll keep mentioning that week after week after week. And also too, maybe, yeah, like I said, maybe we need that document and then we'll have the document to share with everybody, kind of like how I did the Portugal meetup and then the boot camp kind of talks. Actually, has anybody heard from Rush Slowly? 29-minute delay. Wow, that's huge. Huh, okay. Okay, let's keep moving forward. So just FYI, everybody, and we'll even just put this as a BCS special announcement. Ooh, so I'm overly the top proud and pleased with the community being as proactive as they are. That makes me very, very pleased. Adam and TBG are both excellent members of the community and upstanding crypto citizens. And I think we're in good hands with them sort of leading this project. So let's put in here of February. And we will say Google Doc summary shortly. And I tell you what, if you guys have that, as soon as you give me that Google Doc, I can put the link in here. We'll just go https:// Google Doc about LSAL TRI meetup. So obviously that won't work, but as soon as you guys have that, I will put that in there. Okay, questions. Level 2. On the recent crypto rally, we had a very big rallies, especially when looking from the daily perspective, but many of those coins are on a greatly weekly location with momentum turning in favor. Brian, can you please give some advice how to navigate this situation and find a balance between not chasing price on daily, at the same time still getting great weekly entries? Okay, so what I just said there on that spell is exactly that conversation. So there's always a worry in capitalism and venture cap. Oh, I'm going to miss the trade. On a weekly basis, if we change that to a weekly chart, that actually looks very WE. And maybe getting a little bit expensive. Probably the mountain man here is probably the great level to get long. And of course, there's Brian's favorite fib, 78.6. So, reload zones, right? So my statement to you is, if we are at those weekly W levels, which this guy technically is, that is the first W that we've seen in a while out of this guy. I don't mind you just going on and grabbing a little bit. And then maybe what you do is you just, okay, I picked up a little bit here. I'll throw in a stink bid here, and I'll throw in a stink bid here. And then if this thing just takes off and it goes up and doubles, right, and it just goes woohoo, parabolic, all right, well, then you can say, okay, well, I had some on the books. I'll sell half on a double, get that risk-free trade on. And then, I can always adjust my ad positions for the second cars and stuff. Notice how, remember that second order is just basically a little bit below 78.6 right now. Maybe the third order never gets filled. You could always adjust these, right? We said that we were going to buy some here. And maybe why don't we adjust our bid so that other order will have it working there, and then maybe the 88.6 will have it working there. So I like the idea that if we are at those weekly W levels, and more importantly, you look back and you see that, gee whiz, this thing's just got a world of room to run here. And even if we can just get back to eating wicks and releasing a whole bunch of trap bulls from previous cycle, I can still get off that double. If you can do that back math, then I think it's perfectly fine going in and just buying a little bit. Just remember, for Pete's sake, Brian's second rule of investing. And keep in mind, there's a lot of people, especially like futures traders and stuff like that, that they say second rule of investing, risk 5% of your stake. And they go, 5%? I'm not going to risk 5% on one fucking trade. What are you, crazy? That's perfectly fine. The rule, and this is just coming from an old broker, right? Remember when I used to have like retail, don't risk more than 5% of your stake on any one single idea. That doesn't mean you have to risk 5%. You're just not allowed to risk anything more than that. So could you just go here and say, well, I like Danny, and as soon as he gets the fucking thing going, look out. The crypto audience will just come storming in. Maybe I'll go and buy 1% of my stake right there. Then, like I said, if it just zooms straight up into double, all of a sudden 1% of my stake turned into 2%, I'll let half of it go, and now I've got a risk-free trade on that 1%. Then I'll draw my reload zones and wait for that pullback to add to the trade. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's probably the way that I would approach this. In fact, that's what you even saw that I said to Zug there, if you could just go grab a few $100 of this for me, I'd think the world of you. And I even did that on a few other names, like this. I even said, and I haven't even really seen like a fundamental story really get going on this, but the mute one, and this is another of Zug's sort of darlings. I just basically said, look, I like the chart. I trust you because I think you're a good analyst. And I just want to go and get some on the books. And that was when we were breaking out through here. So I was able, this is basically exactly the same chart as that spell. Now, at this point here, if I drew reload zones, you can see, well, here, let's adjust this. Just even if it was here, right? I'm going to go and just pick up a little bit of this on the books. Then I'm going to throw my bids in to add to the position at 78.6. And he even said there, well, I still got your bid working for this. And I said, well, didn't we take the money and buy something else? And he's like, oh, yeah. So the point being that you can see how this thing's zooming up. If this thing goes and doubles, well, great, I'll sell some up top. But if this thing now, you can see 78.6, if we get a stab back against these lows, then I'll go and add to the trade. So it's exactly the same story. Then I recently bought another one with him. This guy here is the same logic. I saw this W, if I'm doing my reload zones, and cheap ass want to try and buy the bottom end of the range, blah, 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 which I'll tell you is not an easy task, but you can see in this particular case, this pullback here would have given you fill in reload zones. This move right here, this is where I came in and bought this thing, but you can see 61.8, and then it went and W'd, and I was like, you know what, just go and grab some for me. And then now we've had this pop up here. So you can see if we get a pullback down into here, then I'll go and grab some more down in the reload zone. So there's two perfectly good examples of exactly that kind of conversation. I hope that answers your question, Mr. Level 2. Igor. Now, question number 2. Brian, can you explain what does it mean, the saying you repeat often, show me a new high and I show you a buy in trading terms? How would that be reflected in a trading plan? This is tough. The expression itself comes from the commodities industry. So let's just preface this conversation with what they're talking about is new contract highs. Because if a futures contract, keep in mind, I don't know whether you hear me or not, but on a daily basis, I'm talking to you about how I trade things like crude oil. And I want to go and, prove that I can still be a funded trader. And I'm going through my old prop firm sort of tryouts. Hey, you want to be a funded trader? You got to do this, this, and this, and then we'll give you money. So I'm actually doing that right now. I noticed quite a few cobwebs that I had to get rid of over the past 3 or 4 months, sort of working their platform. The account that I'm managing for them right now is profitable. So it's not like I'm losing money, but at the same time too, I haven't hit their magic number, which gets them all excited. Hey, come and be a funded trader with us. So what I would just simply say right off the bat is this is more to do with the commodities markets and the commodities industry than anything else. But think of it, an easy way to think about this is like the shit coins. So when a shit coin comes right out of the gate, what would be a good, actually, you know what? Probably some of Fjord's. So these shit coins come right out of the gate. This is probably a good example where this thing theoretically is a brand new idea here. So if you think about this as it's a brand new idea and think of futures contracts as a brand new contract. So if you think about this, you can think of it as a futures contract or a shitcoin. I don't know whether this is all the price history, but let's assume for the sake of assuming that it was an IPO. It came here and went zooming up, then it pulled back, trading range. Now, hopefully it makes sense that anybody who bought through this one candle, and especially these guys, we all know where they're sleeping, right? Where are these people that are in this wick here, especially if we're over here? Where are these people sleeping? Quickly, I haven't got much time left here. Anybody help me? Thank you, TBG. I think TBG's learned a couple things. Doghouse, couch, whatever you want to call it. Wife's not happy. So does it make sense that if price could get up into this area again, there's going to be a bunch of motivated sellers here? Does that make sense? It should. But what happens if they can get price actually above that level? Are there any motivated sellers up here? No, because price never traded to there. So there is no trap people here. So think of this as once they can punch this up to a new high, then now all of these people, they are in sort of virgin territory up here. There are no trapped bulls up here that desperately want release. And you could argue, show me a new high. So that would basically be that event, is basically saying, look at, now we are into what they call the price discovery process. And as you can see here, it might even be beneficial for you to add maybe a rule. Look at, I'm going to let the punch out happen because obviously this was a big inertial event. And there probably were a bunch of people that had alarms set right at that level. And that were like, okay, this thing gets, breaks to new highs. And I'm so going to sell these coins that I bought here or any of these coins down in here. So maybe let this just settle out. But I might argue that this event here, where it basically went up through that high there, we're now into virgin territory. And so what happens to price? Look how price just explodes higher here. Just boom. So I think you can make the argument that, half of the reason why people make so much money in this venture cap space is because there are no trapped bulls once they break these things out to new highs. And, you want to see a really fun one from a previous cycle. And, the irony of it all is once the sort of the euphoria dies down, then the thing comes right back down to earth. But actually, I think I was trading this versus Bitcoin. But you get any sort of, actually, maybe over on Trex, we can see this from a million years ago. You get any sort of inertial push, some sort of story that will actually drive price. And if you don't have any trapped bulls, look at what can happen. I mean, you can see that, here's your old range. I bought down here at 2 sats. And then look, in this particular case, show me a new high and I'll show you a buy. So that we're into virgin territory here. And look at what they did to this thing. Straight up. Now, you could argue that at some point, this is just going to get exhausted. Now, fog and bombs and all that kind of stuff probably come in. If we do things like 2.618, 4.669s, that's probably all that. Yeah. Oh, what a surprise. We stopped basically right at fog and bomb. Oh, shocking. But the point here is this is what you really want to try and get in front of. You want to try and capture that event. And then they did the same damn thing. Let this thing consolidate and then break out. And here we go again, right? I'm trying to show you. So there is there's a whole bunch of trap bulls up there. Those are the idiots that are buying, chasing, stupid. You're all here to learn not to do this, right? If anything, what you want to do if you want to buy this is draw your reload zones. And what a big surprise. Oh, what a big surprise. There's Brian's favorite fib, right? You want to step in and buy. And that's a test of the old eyes. What do we call that? That's a Wyckoff check. So not only is that Brian's favorite fib, it's a reload zone. It's also a Wyckoff check. Great buying level. So point of the matter here, market bottoms, breaks out to a new high. And woohoo! There's no trap bulls. We've gone through this level. This is all open air. There are no sell orders here. So what happens? Woohoo! So hopefully that explains the show me a new buy and I'll show you a buy. If not, we can always circle around tomorrow. So just let me know in the Q&A document whether that was enough for you. All right, let's keep moving this thing forward. I got basically 8 minutes and then I got to get out of here. Where was that? Where's that AMA document? Where did I put it? Oh, here it is. All right. Number 3, Brian. Hi, Brian. Are we still in a buy zone for crypto? And we're getting really late. I'll tell you that much. I mean, there are names like we saw that spell. I hate to say it, but there is an old expression in the market, especially because I was an old VSC penny stockbroker. Who can tell me what usually rises last in a bull market? Who can finish that? Oh, and there you go, Chris. Chris, you just got a job for this afternoon that you can bill us for. Constantine says this explanation would make for a great short for YouTube or a clip. What do you think, Chris? Do you think you could put that together with the whole show me a new high stuff? Uh-oh, I think we caught Chris napping.
Nope, I can help. Definitely can help. I think
Okay,
that's possible.
cool. So we'll look forward to that in the YouTube feed, Constantine, because I think you're right. And Chris, of course, that gives you more billable hours, right? Okay, let's keep moving. What's that? Cool. All right. So just respect the fact that there's an old expression in the market that says the shit always rises last. So the fact that I'm interested in Danny, and of course, I don't know. I think that spell, it's a little bit of if I'm not mistaken, I think there's a few coins out on that thing. But at the same time, too, Brian, he loves his W's. I will buy W's. I love Danny as a character. I mean, you can't write better fiction than reality. He is absolutely the perfect crypto meme. If there ever was one, he is absolutely perfect. Would love to meet the guy one day in person. But just keep in mind that we are very, very late in the cycle. You see where Bitcoin is now, right? Don't kid yourself. We are not in reload zones. I even barked about it earlier. If I wanted to be a buyer of Bitcoin and I wanted to buy value, well, I'm looking at somewhere between about 21 and 26,000 bucks. And I feel very comfortable that we will trade back down to here. Is it in one horrendous candle that freaks all the public out? Could be. Could you actually work stink bids down in here and have the patience and discipline to wait for those? I can't speak to that. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And hopefully, if you're lucky, I would suggest all of you have those stink bids working, because crypto is known for big fuck you days. Just out of nowhere they come, and maybe some exchange is going to get hacked. Maybe some bankster is going to off somebody like CZ, which wouldn't surprise me one bit. You accidentally find out that CZ accidentally fell off a building, or accidentally fell out of a window, or accidentally happened to find a bullet between his ears. This kind of shit happens all the time in this world, folks. All right, and the Beamish could very easily accidentally find himself removed, unalived. Don't be shocked, especially with the way that I talk about money masters and all that. I wouldn't be surprised if I have a really big target on the back of my head, but I don't care. I'm more than happy to go if I get permission to leave tomorrow. I've told you all along here, and it's absolute God's honest truth. My job here for the rest of the days that I have left on this planet is trying to make a positive difference in this world and somehow look after my boy. Speaking of which, I got 4 minutes left to talk to you. Making a positive difference, then I have to go make a positive difference in his life. So the LOL list on the website is not updated recently. I know. Really, it's a question of me getting off my ass and just doing it. And if anything, who's asking this question? I voluntarily volunteer you to help me make sure that that LOL list is updated and up to date. And I'll even pay you money. Somebody want to come and help me manage this? I've just got way too much on my plate, whether it be futures trading, whether it be doing these videos, whether it be trying to manage this company, the LOL portfolio. Most of the names that I have on there are there, but let's call this a public announcement. I need somebody on the site to step up and volunteer to help me look after and manage that LOL portfolio. Do I have any volunteers to help me? Get back to me while I'm out with Liam. If you're thinking positive karmic thoughts and you're like, this guy has really helped me in my life, here's a way that I can give back to him and help him. I need help managing this. So that's my answer to you. I've sat here for like months trying to figure out how to manage this, and it's just too big of a job for me to add to my work. So there you go, Jason. PM me on the site. If there are other people that are interested, let's do this as a group, and let's make sure that this page is up to date and crisp and solid on the site. And my payment to you is I will help you in whatever way I can, whether it be like one-on-one tutorials with you. That's what I do with my futures trading partner. Basically, he's getting my ear on a regular basis to help him in his trading. And I think it's actually helping him. So, it's sort of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. So who can I get on the site to help me manage this little old lady portfolio? And we've already got one person. Send me PMs on the site, Jason. Anybody else who's interested in helping me? Let's take this to the next level, and let's make this page look fucking bulletproof. But I'm openly admitting to all of you right now, I'm overwhelmed work-wise. I just have way too much. And now just even this term, I had to go back and teach one of the school programs. So I also have that on my plate as well. So I just can't keep up with this. This is a public acknowledgement that I need help with this. So there you go. Bet you nobody expected a comment like that out of me, eh? All right, last question, and then we'll head off to Lily. And great to see all of you guys wishing me best wishes for the boy. And by all means, probably a lot of you don't know, but I use Facebook to sort of be my sort of repository for Lily's stuff, my own personal page here. So if you want to get to know who Liam is and my life, although I never know how to use, I don't really use Facebook that often, but here's my baby. There he is, on his birthday. This is the love of my life. That's my baby. He loves to swing.
How about some birthday pizza?
So if you want to learn a little bit more about my life and my family, Liam is my family. There he is, hugs and kisses. I'll be basically spending the afternoon with him. That's my boy, and gee whiz, Dad's looking a little bit old. So anyway, if you want to learn a little bit more about Liam and Liam and ours adventures in this world, you can head over to my personal Facebook page. He's a big fan of throwing rocks in the water in the summertime. So we'll see if we can get back to that. Anyway, so there you go. Okay, so final question here for you. Is the Algo Signals channel on Discord empty? What are your plans on this? I know that it really all depends on which algo, because I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that are running. It is a work in progress, and I'm definitely going to admit to that. But as it stands right now, we haven't had any algos that we put into practice. We have one in our test environment right now, algo signals test, that's just simply taking every key reversal trade out there, and we're just analyzing the results right now. That might get fed into the algo signal page that we have here. Right now, it isn't producing anything because we want to make this like really quality signals before we start spitting it out to you. As well, too, Sjord and I have been working diligently on, and really the irony of it all is that this is actually the value part of the engine that Sjord has built. Everything else that we built has been kind of tertiarily, things like the breadth indicator and all that. It's all derived off of the platform that we built. Oh, Jesus, now I can't even find the damn page I want to show you. Where are we here? It's one of these. I think it's this one. Yeah. So all of this stuff is actually secondary, which is so ironic because what we've actually wanted to do from day one is give you guys the ability to build your own screening signaling system. But it's been kind of broken for like the past 6-8 months. And you can see, I want to click on my signals and nothing's coming up here. So we have a lot of work to do to get this to the point where it actually is producing what we want. Now, I don't want a page to look like this. This looks like gobbledygook. So Sjord and I are meeting on a once-a-week basis. We've committed to it. We had a meeting last week. And the very first thing that we have to do is we have to build this so that you actually can use this as a site user. So we have a whole bunch of pre-built screening tools. And then we have a bunch of tools that you can build on your own. But as you can see, it's still a little bit in development. So as soon as Sjord and I wrap our brains around this and get this all looking crisp and solid, then each and every one of you should have the ability to build your own signals on the platform. This is the real value of this platform. And the irony of it all is that we have a whole bunch of pre-built ones. We have free ones, like remember Da Vinci was on the site for a long time and he built a screener while he was at TRI. We called it the Davo. And since it's Dav's signal, I don't want to charge people for it. So it's under the free signals platform as well. We have things like the Golden Cross and the Death Cross, which are really basic signals. There's Davos. We have the 13 EMA, 30 SMA cross. Key reversal, this should not be on the free screeners. I don't know why the hell it is. Again, this is where Sjord and I need to fix this. It's a major problem. And we had to put all of this on the back burner while Julian and the marketing team actually completely redid the whole website. So now the website technically looks like what a website's supposed to look like in this space. And all the funnels and all that sort of regular marketing pages the way that they're supposed to look. So because we had to go through all this, especially with the Black Friday and all that kind of stuff, We had to get all this. We literally had to build the whole freaking website from square one and do it the way it's supposed to be done. So basically, all of the site development, all of this stuff that we really need to work on and get done had to be put on the back burner for like 6 months. So now Stuart and I should be able to go through and start building these. And there is also a really cool function here where if you build your own screener, and anybody who's a participant on this site, and I got to get out of here, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Yes, they're coming. It's a work in progress. Stuart and I are slowly making progress week after week, and now theoretically this should be our primary focus, and no more fucking back end site development crap that's gonna, or building funnels and payment integration bullshit and stuff that I absolutely hate. We should be concentrating on bringing the value for the pro dashboard and things like algo signals, and the members have their own screeners that they can build. And then, as I said there just a moment ago, and we'll finish off with that, we actually have a function on here where you can actually share your screener with the public, and maybe it becomes part of the algo screeners system. So, and if people, of course, subscribe to that, then you get a kickback off of you. So the short answer is yes, it's coming. Long answer is, oh my goodness, this is taking forever. So, all right. Okay, I'm going to leave the Q&A at that. Like I said, got to hit the road. I'm actually 7 minutes late here. So I think we'll leave the broadcast at that. Please, if you did enjoy the offering, hit the like and the subscribe button, and of course notifications to let you know when new content has been uploaded to the YouTube channel. If anything, everybody should look out for that short or clip or whatever we're going to call it on Show Me a New High. I think that's an excellent suggestion there, Constantine. And Chris probably will have that for us in the next day or two if we're lucky. Wish Liam and I good luck and safe driving on the roads. PMA for the win. Slow and steady wins the race. And of course, we'll see everybody in the market first thing tomorrow morning. Have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. All the best. And bye for now.